Okay, House of Payne fans. So I watched last night's episode early this morning. It had to be around like 1:30 or something. Balancing Payne, season 12, episode 7. And to be completely honest, I didn't really like this episode. I mean, on the one hand, it was cool to see Jasmine and Ella. I mean, everybody, we had three different storylines going on. The most inconsequential being the Ella trying to recreate an old family recipe for cookies. And, Jasmine is the taste tester who is suffering like never before. So they're kind of off in the background, but it was cool to see them there. Floyd and Curtis having their food truck debate, that seemed to be the B story that kind of mirrored the A story in regards to being inconsiderate to a partner. In this case is a business partnership, but then the A story being the Calvin situation with Laura and Miranda. That's the A story, and this is being inconsiderate to your, romantic and future life partner. Because they're supposed to get married. But let me talk about the C story first, and also I'm going to give this episode a 3 out of 10. I know that's really low, and it's mainly due to the fact that when it comes to the A story, being, the stuff revolving around Calvin, Miranda, and Laura, you two have been together far too long. And I'm not saying couples don't argue, hence the saying, oh, you two bicker like an old married couple, as, implying that, oh, wow, you have been married for a long time and y'all just going back and forth bickering. It's the fact that Laura's argument here, not to mention, and honestly, I think Calvin was the worst out of the bunch of this episode, but Laura reacting the way she did, but more so Calvin acting like he doesn't know about the importance of compromise and just the human decency to let somebody know about canceled plans instead of doing it at the last second. It makes no sense. But yeah, 3 out of 10. So the C story is, again, Ella trying to fix up an old family recipe, and she tries to make them, on screen at least 3 to 4 times, but she's at least tried 15 times. And her and Jasmine are working on it, and Jasmine is, tasting them, but they're just nasty. They go to the grocery store at some point, and then it turns out that the old family recipe was in her coupon book this entire time. And by the end of the episode, it's like, oh wait, it's not chocolate chip, it's oatmeal raisin. And somehow, even with the recipe, it's still terrible. And then she's like, wait, maybe it was pound cake I was thinking about. And that's pretty much it. Jasmine has some funny lines here and there, but just seeing Jasmine is enough to get this episode, a couple of points. So yeah, Ella, and her sassiness is still there, which is great. But yeah, that was pretty much the C story. The B story is, remember, and I honestly had forgotten about this, the fact that Curtis's old food truck had blown up. He and Floyd need a new one. So, I don't know. Curtis just struck out twice here with me. Number one, you made a major financial decision by getting a food truck without telling Floyd. I mean, obviously, Floyd knows they need a food truck, but not, letting your business partner know, hey, I found a truck. Let's take a look at it before we get it, or before I get it. It's just the fact that he would do something like that. And then also the next thing, he bought it from a rickety, shady kind of situation where it's like Floyd said, you probably just bought a washing machine on 4 wheels. You can't trust these kind of people. And it turns out, because of the financial split, because of Curtis's selfish actions, Floyd wants to split and do his own food truck. And as a result, apparently he has bad chili that will clean your bowels out like nobody's business. And from there, you have Curtis, who also wanted to add a peach barbecue menu to the food truck, and Jasmine really liked that idea, but Floyd is allergic to peaches. Well, by the end of the episode, it turns out Curtis didn't get the truck because it was sold to somebody else. Floyd actually got a food truck, and they decided to work together again. Simple as that. Now to the A story. Most of this I already talked about in my video based on the clip that was dropped yesterday. When Laura's upset about the Miranda situation. And then I was wrong. The clip ended with Calvin saying that you're not a priority. And I'm like, oh man, they just doing that to tease us, to get people to think, oh snap, some drama's about to go down. And I said, no, it probably was cut off just at that moment because Calvin's next line would have been, no, it's like, you're not a priority, you're my fiance. But nope, I was wrong. This dude literally said that to his freaking fiance, and this just seems so dumb. It really does. Now, here's the situation here. Apparently, to take a break from all the wedding planning that's been going on, it's been a time to have a date night where they're going to a spa to get foot massages, and I believe she also said to get a 5-course dinner. And not long before they're supposed to go to this appointment, Miranda comes up out of nowhere and says, hey, I screwed up bad at work and I need to work over. I know it's not your night, but could you watch Christian? And she's like, sure, I can do that. But then it's a situation where mere seconds after he says that, Laura pops out of the back. Oh, hey, Miranda, what's going on? And it's like, oh, well, I was just leaving. You're not interrupting anything. Bye. And then Calvin mentions the whole thing in regards to the, hey, need to watch Christian because of, a work thing. And also, this episode just did even more to secure the fact that, and I don't know, the writers are doing this thing where it's like, look, they're really shitting on Laura when it comes to these episodes because of the fact that you just see the dynamic between Calvin and Miranda. And I still don't want these two to get back together, but you see the dynamic between Calvin and Miranda as co-parents, and it's like, I don't think Laura will ever have that. Yeah, in terms of the co-parent thing, but just in regards to the compromising relationship that Calvin and Miranda have. I mean, yeah, they have their rocky moments still, but overall, you could say that we've seen more positive dynamics between Miranda and Calvin than Laura and Calvin. And also another thing to take into consideration is the fact that Calvin was ready to square up with Miranda's boss because, oh yeah, he yelled at me in front of the whole office. But in any case, like Calvin said, oh, I got you. And it's like one of those things where, yeah, these two, they still got it. So, Laura is upset because of the situation where the entire night was scrapped. And to be honest, I'm siding with her. At first, when the argument started, she sounded, well, whenever Miranda says, come, you jump. Oh, no, come, you run. No, I don't always run, I walk. But it's just one of those things where, thankfully, later in the episode, it gets resolved because Miranda's the one to tell him about himself. Yeah, you were like this when we were together. You were inconsiderate. If you would have said, Miranda, I have plans, me and Laura have plans, I would have tried to find somebody else. Truth be told, Aunt Ella, all she was doing was, maybe it was for Christian's benefit that he didn't go over to Ella and Curtis's house because he would have either wound up eating some of that laxative chili that Floyd makes, or those icky cookies that Aunt Ella was baking. But Jasmine probably would have welcomed the cousin over there. That way she could take a break from trying those nasty cookies. But yeah, this could have been easily resolved. It felt like forced drama. The fact that, you had Laura, and I was thinking the whole time, like I said in my other video, this episode just proved Laura's parents right. She's never going to be the main priority of Calvin's life. His kids are going to take precedence over everything. And he even says, he's doing all this to, and this line right here pretty much shows that Calvin, he needs to work on the co-parenting thing and solidify that, because he's still working through some guilt, because he literally told Laura, one of the reasons I just try so hard to make everybody happy, including Miranda, is because the marriage failed and I don't want my, kid to suffer because of that. That's a very, very honest and level-headed response. And I think it says a lot about Calvin. He's still a dog, though, because remember, he cheated on his fiance twice. But at the same time, that's some heavy stuff. And I really wish that he and Laura would truly have a conversation about that, as opposed to, just fighting over, I don't even want to say over nothing, because I think that Calvin's being inconsiderate to Laura was just a selfish move. It's like, oh yeah, kids, I'll watch them and that's it. But you should have had that conversation of, I actually got plans tonight, so what I can do, we can take Christian. No, let me call my mom real quick, make sure she's good. We can take Christian, or no, you can like drop Christian off with my mom. Simple as that, because me and Laura have to go somewhere, and you could drop her off, and I'll make sure you get him back by noon tomorrow. Simple as that. It's just a lot of things where instead of making a off the jump decision to keep the son, just drop him off at grandma's. Simple as that. That would have saved a whole lot of trouble. But then again, like I said, it's 22-minute or 20-minute drama that has to be, forced into it. And I mean, we could have had more of the Floyd and Curtis argument as opposed to this Laura stuff, because at first she comes off bad in terms like, don't patronize me. When Calvin's like, look, you can't always do what you want. And it's like, well, don't you think I know that? And then the conversation shifts to him being a selfish, meathead by saying you're not a priority. And then by the end of it, she goes to, the restaurant and the spa herself, but she wound up coming back. And Calvin makes it up to her by rightfully apologizing and saying, I'll make you dinner and give you a foot massage, but you hate feet. No. I hate everybody else's feet. So then that was pretty much it. That was the episode. But, the Miranda stuff when she tells Calvin something about himself was great. You could argue, oh, there go Miranda popping in unannounced. Yeah, that's true, but you know how this show is. I mean, they could easily just call, because think of it this way. Miranda, you could have just called Calvin as opposed to coming over there burning gas. Maybe that's just me still thinking about gas prices, but I don't know. And then, hell, talking about the open door policy, Floyd goes over to Curtis and Ella's, and it's like, what'd you come over here unannounced for, walking in like that? It's an open door. Touche. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about the episode. Maybe a 3 out of 10 was too low, but I'll still give it a 3 out of 10. I think that the Calvin and Laura stuff that should have been resolved a long time ago. So a lot of people asking the right question, like, why does Laura even want to marry this guy? I think it's the clout, is the fact he has money and whatnot. Some people speculate, like, maybe she thought that Calvin wasn't going to be a good father to his kids and, focus on her as opposed to his sons. But no, he's very involved in his kids' lives, and this. So for you to act like, you're getting the short end of the stick, it's like you kind of are, because he has children and he's going to try to make these women happy. At least appease Tracy as best he can, and then he and Miranda are good co-parents. But, I mean, one could argue that these two are better co-parents than they were when they were actually married. So, Laura, this is what you're getting into. I mean, even Calvin says, like, look, this is what is involved with marrying me. You also marry them. So, hey, take it or leave it. Enough said. But, like I said before, I got flack when I talked about how the parents, had made a point last week. No, they're being, too harsh on Calvin. They were being a bit too judgmental, but a couple things. Number one, Laura should have said something about the whole, he has kids already. And number two, regardless of how you feel about the way Laura's parents, judged and spoke to Calvin once they found out about his past marriage and whatnot and the kids, they made valid points. It's going to take a lot of work. And if Calvin, doing what he did in this episode causes a lot of friction, ain't no telling what it's going to be like when they get married. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Balancing Payne, one of the weaker episodes of the season. But this is episode 7, and to be honest, thinking back on the season as a whole, there haven't been too many episodes where I've given low scores. I think maybe one of them I gave like a 4 or 5, but let me just say, so far, season 12 is one of the better seasons since it started on BET back in season 9. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next one.